Welcome back, everyone. This week in social studies, we're going to focus on three groups of people and their relationship with each other. Those three groups of people are the miners, the settlers, or the people who came here to live or to settle in this area, and the Indians, the Native Americans who were living on the plains and also in the mountains, the Utes and the Plains Indians. Today what we're going to do is actually take a look at this painting, which is a painting of a very important event that occurred in Colorado's history around the time that mining and settling here in this area became very popular. So what you're going to need today for this activity is a piece of paper and something to write with. So if you need to go grab those things, go ahead and pause this video and replay it when you're ready. Okay. So on your paper, you're going to need to create three columns. The first column we're going to label as C. These are going to be things that we see in this painting. The next column is going to be called Think. This is going to be for all of the things that we think we see in this photo, in this painting, all of the things that we think are occurring. And there's a big difference between these two columns, and I tend to see people kind of getting confused with those. So we're going to talk a lot about the difference between this column and this column. And then the last column, I want you to label that as Wonder. This column is going to be for all of the things that you wonder about, those questions that you have after looking at this painting. All right, so let's talk. First thing I'm going to have you do is just study this painting. Take a few minutes, look at it, study every inch of it, really dive in deep. What do you see? What do you notice? So take a few minutes and do that. We're going to start with the I see column, and this column is specifically, what do you see? Without a doubt. I mean, you could ask 10 other people and they would agree with you that without a doubt, that's what they see as well. It is very different from the I think column, where the I think is more of your guess. So you've got to make that distinction between I for sure see this and I think this. So when I look at this painting, I know for sure that I see people. I'm not going to make a prediction of who I think those people are. That's going to be for my next column, but I know for sure I see people. So in the first column, I'm going to write people. Then I'm going to move on to the I think column. This is where you're making a guess. This is where you might say, well, I think some of these people are, who do you think these are? That would be something that you would write down. Or who do you think is here? Okay. So I'm going to actually not look at specifically the people. I'm going to save that for you guys. But I'm looking at the surroundings in this painting. And I'm going to use what we learned at the very beginning of the year when we were studying the different regions of Colorado. Remember that there are 4 regions. There are the plains, the Piedmont, mountains and parks, and the plateau region. And so knowing what I know about each of those 4 regions, I think that this is taking place in the plains region. And I think that because as I'm looking in the background, even here in the foreground, I know that the plains does not have a lot of grass, does have grass, but does not have a lot of trees. And I think that those might be trees there, but there aren't a ton like there are in mountains and parks. There are some grasses here. I know that the plains is kind of rolling. There aren't mountains, there aren't hills. So my prediction, my think, is that this is taking place in the plains. So in that second column, under think, I'm going to write down, I think it's in the plains. All right, sorry, I'd gone ahead and started writing down some things. So ignore that. But Our last column is the I wonder column. And again, this is where you're going to make some predictions. This is where you're, not predictions, but questions. Ask some questions. So as I'm looking at this painting, I'm thinking, where are these people running to? They're obviously running in this direction. They're coming from here and making their way across here. So I just wrote down, what are they running towards? Okay, so in the classroom, if we were doing this together, I would focus just on the I see column, and we would go through and just look at what things we see for sure, without a doubt, no questions asked, that for sure is what we see. And then we would move on to the I think column and just focus on things that we think, making those inferences. What do we think is happening? Who do we think these people are? Why do we think this is happening? Those kinds of things. And then we would end with the I wonder part. You're more than welcome to do it that way. I wanted to do it the way that we did it, just so I can give you an example for each of these columns. And that's really all we're going to do today. So your directions going forward after this video is ended is to continue this, whether you do each column like we did, or whether you just focus on the I see and then move on to the next one and then to the last one. You decide how it works best for you. But what I want you to do today is I really want you to study this painting. If you can't see it very well on the video, I would love for you to go to that PDF that we're using, and on page 208, which is what I'm actually videoing right now, you can get up close and kind of personal with this painting and really take a look at it. There's a lot to see, and the images are kind of small, so you're really going to have to study it. But if you can't see it very well in the video, that's a great place for you to go. Page 208 in the PDF for this chapter. And then what I want you to do is I want you to add and finish this list. Add what other things you see. Add what things you think are happening, or who you think these people are, or why it's happening. I do caution you that if you go into the textbook, please, 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 for this activity, do not read any of the text. We're going to save that for tomorrow. We're just kind of giving a preview of the topics that we're going to be covering this week. And I'd rather this information that you're going to be doing today come from you, what you see in this portrait or painting, and what you think. So not from what you've read. So please, please don't start reading the text if you go to the book. All right, so your plan today is to finish this. I'm not going to give you a magic number, but I hope that you will do more than 3 or 4. I hope that you will add more than 3 or 4 notes under each column. I would love for you to aim for more. So fill out your page. I see, I think, and I wonder on this painting. And then when you're done, what you're going to do is take a picture of it. You can add a recording of yourself, maybe explaining some of the things that you noted, especially if there was something in particular, excuse me, something in particular that you wanted to share with us. You can definitely do a recording and explain that, or you can just take a picture of your final work. In Seesaw, there is an activities folder, social studies, picture thinking, something like that is the title. I'm sure you guys will be able to find it with no problems. But that is your task for today. Good luck. Have fun looking at this and kind of wondering what might be happening. Again, do not read anything in the book. I want this all to come from the portrait, the picture, and from your own thinking. All right, guys, I can't wait to see what we do with the rest of this week and what we learn about all of this interesting information. Bye.